Hello, Deplorable family. It is your friendly neighborhood trash panda here to give you the Week 10 review. Insert amazingly awesome intro music. All right. So, Woke Bison. I'm going to go ahead and start with you. You were mathematically eliminated from the playoffs last week by going 1-8, your 8th consecutive loss. And how did you respond? By being the top scorer of the week and absolutely taking Beans and Franks to the woodshed, 143.87 to 104.78. Wow. I'll bet you $50 right now you don't get close to that next week. I probably shouldn't do that. I've not had good luck at the end of this season, so I probably would lose that. Anyway, let's see. Foosball versus Bad News Beers. Thank you, Foosball, coming in clutch, pulling out the victory. I was scared for this long. That you weren't for a long time, but you had the points in the end, pulled out the victory. Thank you. You're the only reason I'm still in the playoff race. Let's see. Balzac pulls out the uninspiring victory, 95.5 to 88.43 over Spencer Strasmore, who decided that he didn't want to go to work this week. Half of his team stayed at home, and he lost. Pretty great. Not really, because now Balzac has the same record as me, and all I'm going to hear about is how I fell apart at the end, and he came through. Nailbender, going right back to the basement, 80.5 to 137.33. Dr. Feelgood wasn't even close. Blue team narrowly pulls out the victory over Donald Trump, 138 to 133. And then me, the lowly trash panda, could not pull it out in the end against Caitlyn Jenner because of Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins. Honestly, I'm happy for the guy. I liked him as a quarterback. I thought he was going to be better than RG3 coming out of college. I actually called that. I did not think RG3 was going to work out, and if not for injuries, I probably would have been wrong, but injuries made him suck. And he played a little bit of a game this year. I don't know if people knew that. RG3 did. He didn't look very good. He looked bad. But yeah, so Kirk Cousins gets two of his wide receivers 20 points. It sucked. Literally every time he threw the football, it was to one of those two freaking guys. Every time. It was ridiculous. Heading into the standings here. Trump Town, you have a two-way tie for first. Dr. Feelgood and Donald Trump at 7-3 apiece. Caitlyn Jenner is in it at a game back. And even though you're 2 games back, Spencer, your 80-point showing should be troubling. So hopefully you can right the ship. And Caitlyn Jenner, I'll be rooting for you this week. I'll get to that later. Bidenville. So Bad News Beers holds his 2-game lead over me. That was hard. And yeah, I had a chance to get one over. Granted, I wasn't super excited about this matchup because I know that Caitlyn Jenner has good weeks here and there. And, well, to put it honestly, not having Chris Carson and Zeke being a shell of himself have hurt me, even though Zeke was on bye. Like, I was just put in a bad situation. And, yeah, I failed to capitalize. So now I have to rely on somebody else being able to beat him. Actually, Caitlyn Jenner. Again, I'll get to that. Balzac has come all the way back from being irrelevant and is tied with me at 4-6. So he suddenly is competing for a playoff shot out of nowhere. And then Woke Bison, again, 2-8, got a second win in miraculous fashion. High score of the week. And then the Libertarian Shanty, you have Foosball still holding on to the first spot. Blue team's right on his heels. Beans and Franks, you're only 3 games out, but that 3 games feels pretty steep at this point. You really needed to win last week. You just ran into the literal unlikeliest of buzzsaws in Woke Bison last week. And then Nailbender at 2-8. You're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs at this point. But hey, man, you inherited a bad roster, but it's kind of your fault because you were originally going to be that person and you backed out last minute. So we had to find a replacement. I thought I found a good replacement. I obviously didn't. And now here you are living with a shitty team. I'd call that karma. Follow through with your commitments, children. That's the moral of the story. What else can I blabber on about? Yes, I am crying about my loss because it hurts. And that's what you do when you get hurt. You cry. Let's see. Oh, next week's matchups. You have... I've mentioned it already in the past. So Caitlyn Jenner's playing Bad News Beers. I'm rooting for you, Caitlyn. I play Nailbender. Donald Trump gets Beans and Franks. Dr. Feelgood gets Foosball. That's probably the biggest matchup of the week. Foosball's fighting for his sole possession of first. Dr. Feelgood is still fighting for a tie for first. And you got to feel like that's a must win. So good luck to you two. Let's see. Spencer Strasmore gets the suddenly fierce Woke Bison. And Balzac goes up against Blue Team. I will be rooting for you, Blue Team, to remind Balzac where he belongs. South. All right. I kind of sped through that. I have something really important to talk about right now. The last time that I talked for one of these reviews, I told you I was going to put some polls up. It didn't happen. But I don't like to be a guy that doesn't follow through with his commitments. So me and Donald Trump have been talking. We've kind of been working out the details of what we wanted these polls to be about. And we've narrowed it down to 3 things. We're probably going to post them heading into the weekend. Because obviously everybody has to get on at some point between Friday and Sunday to make sure their rosters are set and ready to go. So it'll be the most likely chance for you guys to see it. Vote, please. Please vote. I don't want to sound like an asshole here, but the way that I see it, if you don't vote in these polls, that means you don't care about your position in the future. All of these polls pertain to the future of the league and improvements for the league. So you should consider it your civic duty. For real, every vote counts in our system. It's not stupid and set up by electoral votes. Every vote counts. So if you don't vote, you don't care. And if you don't care, you don't belong in this league. Caveat to that, I'm saying that boldly because more than likely, if you're not voting in this poll, you haven't been interacting in the league anyway. You know who you are. You don't talk in the chat. You don't talk trash. So the very least you can do is vote on something to make your voice heard in some way. And so the most likely people to not vote are the people who already don't do anything on the website anyway, aside from set lineups. So, yeah, if you don't vote, that's not good. Please vote. Make your voice heard. Every vote counts. It's super important. So the first topic that we will be voting on in these polls has to do with PPR scoring. Right now, it's a full point per reception. That was a last-minute change to the league plan. It was an effort to add depth to the wide receiver position, to encourage more activity on the free agent market, to encourage more trading maybe. It was built in there as a way to increase scoring and depth amongst the rosters. And that being said, you're not supposed to hold 10 wide receivers on your roster. Bison, 10 wide receivers, that's a little extreme. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We just want to know, do you like full point per reception? Do you wish it was half a point? Do you wish we could get rid of it altogether? In which case you would be very wrong. But yeah, do you want half point? Do you want full? How do you feel about it? I'm not going to go into my personal thoughts because I don't want to aid or inhibit your voice. So moving on to the next one. It has to do directly with IDP scoring. Now, I personally am disappointed in myself for designing this IDP system. I'm not going to tell you why, because, again, I don't want to influence or inhibit your voice. But essentially, the question is, do you like IDP? Do you want more IDP scoring? As in, do you think it's all too low? Do you want more points or do you want less points? Is it too much for you? In which case, I feel like if it's too much for you, you probably are going to say you don't want it at all. In which case, I don't know if you're going to be here next year because I love IDP scoring and it's my league and Trump's equally. Honestly, if anything, it's more his league than mine. Why do you think it's pink? Weird. Anyway, no. That was all a joke. But seriously, IDP scoring. Do you want more? Do you like it how it is? And if you do want more, how much more? How much of a premium do you want on IDP scoring? And then the last one has to do with these videos. I ran an experiment a few weeks back on these where I wanted everybody to make a comment saying that they watched it, and most of you didn't. And so I don't know if it's just because you were lazy. I don't know if it's because you wanted to be rebellious and make me feel like you don't care, which would be really hurtful. But anyway, so now I'm going to make a poll about it. Now you don't have to speak. You don't have to go on the league chat. You just have to say yes, no, I don't care, or whatever the answers are that we decide to put on there. Essentially, it's just asking, do you watch these? Do you like these? Is it something you want to continue seeing? Is it something that you could do without? Did you watch the first one and absolutely hate it so much that you never watched another one? Which, again, that'd be really sad because some of these ones are, they're legitimately funny. And the Strasmore one, man, he probably put way more time into it than he should have. I mean, that production. So those are the 3 league polls that we're going to be issuing out to you headed into the weekend. And then also maybe a like a message board for us to maybe discuss some things that you would like to see voted upon that aren't being voted upon which maybe it's something that we'll just do. We're already planning on doing independently of whatever you say, or it's something that we haven't thought of yet and we'll take it in consideration. Who knows? But a chance for you guys to voice your opinions on any things that you don't like or something like that. And then, again, just reminding you, 3 weeks left. Big surprise at the end of the 3rd week, headed into the playoffs. So please, at least keep watching these. Whether or not you want them here, we're probably going to finish out the season doing the reviews so that I have a full season's worth of reviews to send to the podcasts that I like to listen to hopefully get a job and make a lot more money doing fantasy football than I ever could by beating y'all sorry asses. So, once again, thank you so much. I am Trash Panda, and you are listening to the Deplorable Ones Week 10 review. Insert awesome outro music. Boom, ba, 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 da, da, dum, boom, ba, 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 da, da, dum, boom, ba, 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 da, da, boom, whoa, whoa, boom, ba, 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 da, da, boom, ba, 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 da, da, boom, ba, 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 da, da, boom, boom, boom. Good night, everybody. No, I'm just fucking with you. I am not singing.